Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt. She was one of the most glamorous women to ever walk the earth. She lived a life of power, love, and death. Some say she was a manhunter. Others say she was a true queen. Here is the unknown life story of Cleopatra. Cleopatra was born in Alexandria, ancient Egypt in 69 BC, as the daughter of Pharaoh Ptolemy XII. Although she was born in Egypt, Cleopatra was not originally Egyptian. The Ptolemy family to which she belonged traced its roots back to Ptolemy Soter, one of Alexander the Great's generals from Macedonia. In other words, this Hellenic dynasty had been ruling Egypt for 300 years since Alexander. Interestingly, the Egyptian people did not react to this situation and accepted being ruled by a family of Greek origin who did not even learn the ancient Egyptian language for 300 years. Cleopatra received a good education from her childhood and was always interested in ruling the state, so much so that her father Ptolemy XII even appointed her as his deputy to rule the kingdom. As she grew older, Cleopatra's beauty began to emerge. Since Cleopatra was of Macedonian origin, she had white skin. This made her unique in a geography like Egypt. Her beauty was not limited to her appearance. She was very intelligent and had a sharp mind. She also knew 9 languages, one of which was the ancient Egyptian language which her family had never learned before. In this way, Cleopatra mingled with the Egyptian people, took a close interest in them, and won the love of all Egyptians. When Cleopatra was 18 years old, her father King Ptolemy XII died. In his will, her father wanted Cleopatra to marry her 10-year-old brother and rule the country together. This was already a family tradition. The Ptolemaic dynasty did not marry Egyptians and married within the family in order not to spoil their lineage. As a matter of fact, Cleopatra married her brother Ptolemy XIII, who was 8 years younger than her, and started to rule Egypt by sharing the throne with him. However, later on, the two siblings and their spouses could not get along with each other. Cleopatra was removed from power by her brother and those around him and exiled to Syria. Of course, she was not a woman who would accept this. She formed an army of those who supported her and mobilized against her brother. Just when war was at the door, Julius Caesar, the sole ruler of the Roman Empire, came to Egypt in 48 BC. Cleopatra planned to meet Caesar and impress him, but predicted that Ptolemy XIII and his men would prevent her from meeting Caesar. With her intelligence, she found a solution. She had her Sicilian slave Apollodorus wrap her in a carpet and carry her to Caesar's presence. Caesar was surprised to find the Queen of Egypt in the carpet and was impressed by Cleopatra's intelligence, courage, and beauty. Thus began one of the most sensational relationships in history between the Roman Emperor and the Queen of Egypt. Cleopatra made Caesar fall in love with her and managed to kill her brother and husband Ptolemy XIII in a war with his support, and became the sole ruler of Egypt. Cleopatra regained control of Egypt and married her younger brother Ptolemy XIV, who was 13 years old according to tradition. On the other hand, her relationship with Julius Caesar continued, and they had a son whom they named Caesarion, or Little Caesar. Historians think that this Rachroman was more about mutual interests rather than being a great love story for Cleopatra, because Cleopatra was 21 and Caesar was 52 when they met. Thanks to this relationship, Cleopatra dreamed of uniting with the Roman Empire, the superpower of the ancient world, and dominating almost all of the known world. She even saw Caesarion, her son from Caesar, as the head of this empire. Cleopatra did not hesitate to kill her other brother and husband, Ptolemy XIV, so that Caesarion could be the first heir. However, when Caesar was stabbed to death in the Senate in 44 BC, while she was in Rome with Caesar, she had to postpone these dreams for a while and returned to Egypt. When Caesar died, the Roman Empire was jointly ruled by Octavian and Marcus Antony. The western half of the empire was ruled by Octavian and the eastern half by Antony. Antony visited Egypt in 41 BC, and according to rumors, he fell in love with Cleopatra at first sight. Marcus Antony and Cleopatra started to live together in Egypt, and after a while they got married. The Roman Senate predicted that Marcus Antony would establish a new empire by uniting the eastern half of the empire with Egypt. Marcus Antony's donation of the revenues of some of the Roman provinces to Cleopatra was the last straw. Cleopatra was declared by the state to be a seductress, an evil woman with all kinds of intrigues in her mind, and the worst enemy of the Roman people. At the same time, Emperor Octavian, who ruled the West, declared war on the Kingdom of Egypt. The conflict culminated in the naval battle at Actium the following year. Cleopatra and Antony lost to Octavian's forces and had to flee to Alexandria. It was now the end of everything for both of them. Antony committed suicide on August 1st, Roman style, with his own sword. Cleopatra, who committed suicide 12 days later, had a different method. Like the life she lived, according to rumors, she chose death by having a poisonous snake bite her. Caesarion, the son of Caesar and Cleopatra, fell into the hands of Octavian. Octavian said, "Two Caesars are too many for this world." He had Caesarion executed. What is known about Cleopatra today is mostly what the Roman Emperor Octavian, who hated her so much, wrote against her. However, according to some historians, Cleopatra was not at all the person she was portrayed to be, both in character and physically. The Roman historian Plutarch wrote that she was more intelligent and cultured than beautiful, and that she took many steps to improve the lives of the Egyptian people, especially the poor. So what was the real Cleopatra like? First of all, she was short. She had white skin and well-defined body features. The most tangible evidence of Cleopatra's physical features is this statue made by sculptor Stephanos when she was 23 years old and visited Caesar in Rome. The best document of Cleopatra's facial structure is a coin with Cleopatra's image on it, preserved in the Berlin Museum. She was the last pharaoh and legendary queen of ancient Egypt. Although she lived 2,000 years ago, Cleopatra's life continues to fascinate historians, writers, poets, and filmmakers today.